I'm back. Hello everyone. Well, we've made it through all these dates. No problem. Skated right through them. Haven't heard of anything major. Learned a lot. Answered a lot of questions. I'm glad that I was wrong. I'm glad that everyone was wrong and that nothing happened. I don't think I harped on that enough, and so when the shill mail came, it seemed as if getting things right and everything being devastated was a win, and getting things not right, or however it turned out, and nothing happening to people was a fail. So that is, in essence, that is my goal, to fail. I don't want to be right on any of this stuff that I ever bring, or that we talk about. And all the dates and everything that we knew somehow pointed. And so we watched and waited until the dates came. They're not going to stop. You can think what you may before they come, but they'll come and go, and you don't truly know with 100% certainty until after that time has passed, when you're talking about something like this, or the effects that could have been. Of what has been learned to me, and probably everyone, is that it intersected, eclipsed, nothing happened really. So it cannot do anything by itself, it would seem. It needs more. And we have to think about the Jupiter effect. Jupiter is factored in to large quakes. When you look it up, you see they're involved in several high magnitude 7.0 or even greater quakes. So this has shown that the dwarf, that I still think is somewhere out there, is not what was intersecting. So we know that now. And that was toss a coin up if everything was being misled. But NASA was obviously knowing nothing would happen, so we have to go with that because nothing did. It's either disintegrated and so small or far away and in pieces that it can't do anything, or it's still pretty much together and it can't do anything. So we have to think about this going into the next dates, is why would it then if it didn't in the past? And common reasoning would lead you to believe that it wouldn't do anything. So unless there's something else, I'm going to be thinking this thing is either not going to do anything, or when the other dates come, we're going to know if it's artificial or not. Like Richard Hoagland still seems to believe because of the numbers involved. And apparently he was correct also, that it would be a non-event. But still, he believes it's a special object. And we were told, obviously it's a special object because it supposedly had never been here before and supposedly would never be here again. Well, that is why the concentration on this for a while. So I'm not upset that nothing happened. I'm not upset that this turned out to be a non-event. I'm glad. I prayed that nothing would happen and that we'd have some more time. I always wanted the timeline not to match. It looked like it would point in with God time and Revelation time, but we turn out that we're a little early. So, just an example, and since I'm getting so many of them now, I usually don't mess with it, but I'm going to pull one out of the hat every now and then and put it up, because this guy here, he got pretty nasty, and I had to take his comment completely off the video and just block him. That's all I'm going to do to the shills and the trolls. I'm not going to waste time on them. It's your typical, as you will find it, 99 times out of 100. They may not be. They could be just viewers that do nothing but view and then post. But 99 times out of 100, when you get cussed out and talked to the way this old person did, well, you come to see what is a little about this person, and you find out there is nothing. So I'll leave that at that. And actually, during these eclipse dates, and even the days leading up to it, once we got past that one period where we had several 6.0 and a little higher than that magnitude, when we got past that, the closer the thing got, the closer the object got, it seemed like the calmer things got. The earthquake magnitudes seemed to be more in the 4s then, with an occasional lower magnitude 5, with the exception of India. And well, right now everything seems to be fairly calm too. It's where I'm at. It's now clear as a bell, and it has been. The skies are really dark. I can see some stars sometimes, other times not very many. I haven't seen the moon in a while, so that's why the sky is seemingly more darker, because I don't have as much illumination. Well, let's see what's going on everywhere else. There's not much. Make a quick run. A 3.5 in Utah, and that would be the 28th, and a 3.9 in Nevada. So there are some smaller ones, but not too great of magnitude, and a 4.8 in Mexico, a 4.3 in Costa Rica. You got a little cluster here, 4.6, that'd be the 27th in the Virgin Islands, a 3.3 in Puerto Rico. So they're doing about their normal thing. A 5.6 in Chile on the 28th. A 5 even on the 29th in the southern mid-Atlantic ridge, so you're not seeing very high of magnitude. And that's what I was speaking of. It seemed like things actually went down in the average magnitude and calmed, if you could call it calmed, except when you look over and you'll see a few little areas pop up that hadn't had any, like Greece, you know, and they end up having a 4.3 and a 5.1 on the 27th. We can swing it all the way around. And they're not doing too bad over here in New Zealand and Fiji and Tonga area. 27th, you had 5.2 southeast of Loyalty Islands. And then when you come over here, you can see 4.6, 28th, 4.8, 28th, 4.6, 29th. And we'll pull it down so see it better. On a 4.9 on the 29th, this is the Philippine Island region, and this would be Indonesia down here. So they're doing something, but not much. And then Japan Wow. That's pretty calm for them. A 4.7, and that was on the 28th. And that's just kind of the point that I'm making about this whole thing. It seemed like the farther away it was, we were getting disruptions and stuff. And that's a 4.8 on the 28th in central Alaska. But now that it's getting closer, it doesn't seem like anything going like we thought that it might. And that's a good thing. So we just have to change our way of looking at trying to associate anything with Elenin now in different light. You have to learn from the whole thing. Now, there was something else I wanted to show. There's the Hubble. And there's the Swift. And there's the GLAST and the International Space Station. And there we go. Isn't that interesting that even though it has fallen, this particular site, earthbrowser.com, showing all these satellites flying around, perhaps they've not corrected their software. But if NASA is not tracking this anymore, why are they? I don't know. But it's something to point out. Anybody else that's using any type of trackers for these, I'm going to go check some different ones just to see. I just want to point that out about here. It's still here, at least till they take it off or something. We go over here, and this is the Al Jazeera. And the Security Council is going to debate the Palestinian bid. It's an article about the Wednesday, and it just goes. It's pretty, not real lengthy. But the Security Council, which was Wednesday and today's Thursday, met just not long ago, and they're starting a process of, going through the hoops and stuff about Palestinians requesting the membership. And they changed their leadership, rotating presidency, and this month it's a Lebanese guy, Ambassador Nawaf Salam. Even though they're going to take a vote, it's not expected for weeks or even months, is what it says. So they're playing it out pretty good. And evidently, we're not going to know nothing more than what we do if it's going to take that long. It'll likely move slowly, but for now, intense diplomacy continues behind the scenes here. And then I just read that they were going to go ahead and let 1,100 more homes be built. And that was firing them up over there about building more Israeli homes. And Obama said the UN bid is an unrealistic shortcut that will not produce real and lasting peace on the ground between the two sides. And we already heard Netanyahu said, he sounded pretty much like they would deal, but it would have to be not a UN deal, it'd have to be a lasting deal, compromise between they and the Palestinians, which is kind of worrisome in itself whenever they're ready to deal and give up a portion of their land when they're well aware they're not, they shouldn't do that, and probably what will fall and come after that. But it's what has to be done to play it all the way out. Well, you read through the whole thing, since it's been occupying the West Bank for the last 44 years. They built more than 130 settlements, home to 300,000 residents. Another 200,000 live in settlement neighborhoods in occupied East Jerusalem. Palestinians, however, believe East Jerusalem should be the capital of their future state, and they're fiercely opposed to the extension of Israeli control over the sector. So, the fight will continue over that, evidently, and we've seen them go in, and we got Barack on TV and all that stuff, and they're going to play around here a little while longer, and that's the update on that. The Feast of Trumpets and all the Jewish feast and the new moon, it looks like this won't be the year that we're called upwards and taken up. What I can say is that truly the feast time is the most likely time, if one were going to try to pin a time that you could anticipate and gear up and maybe hope for, to look forward to. And that comes every year. So, even if it doesn't happen now, it's something to look forward to, and it's going to come again next year, and however many years, until finally something happens. You have eyes and ears and intelligence. You can see what's going on around you, and you can think and figure things out, and you yourself can feel when and if things feel right or not, and when and if timing feels right or not. So this timing, for whatever this thing really is, comet, or we come into the next few dates when it gets closer. You know, we're hearing about different things about supposed radio frequency signals. We're going to have to see if that's real or not. And if it is, well, you got to try and figure that one out. But I think it's probably a good chance it was just a comet. We're going to find out. Like I said, we shall see. We shall see. We done been through the 11th. No giant CME. We come through the eclipse. No 3 days of darkness. No pole shift. We're going to go into the close point on the 16th into the 17th. And when we hit those days, that should be the telling tale. You know, we're done seeing what it won't do. And this is the next hoop that it'll go through to show us, apparently, what it won't do now. And so that's what we're trying to... It's going to have to show us something now to prove anything now. If it's artificial, they're going to have to find a way to prove that it's going to have to do, it's going to have to do something. And if it doesn't, that's going to be that. November doesn't seem like it would, it doesn't seem like it would be as intense as what we thought it might. But then we have to think that there's other planets and objects besides whatever this is, or even if there is something, a dwarf, following it, however far back that may be. I always said, maybe not in video all the time, some I've said and a lot I've written, this pointed to this coming first. That's why JPL was looked at so closely. But in no certain order, it's kind of it had equal possibility. And I always thought, we're going to get all of them. You know, if this was a comet, we're going to get it. And if there's something artificial somewhere around it, we're going to get it. And if there's a dwarf, we're going to get it. That's what I always said. So, we know that Nephilim are coming back. That's the dead cinched lock. And then you go back to trying to fit in when. And you go back to trying to find a time. And as we done seen, that's really hard. We're going to have to be more careful, at least I am. I don't know what the other guys are saying or anything. I haven't seen any of them around lately that are usually posting. Like I said, I'm glad that these dates didn't happen the way that they could have and the way they look like they may have. And in one respect, I'll give you credence. You were correct in your thought that things would be okay. And for that, I give you a thumbs up. That doesn't mean that I'm going to unblock you, though. And with that, I'd like to say all's calm on the home front, as far as I can tell. Most places, except for typhoons, like Japan, Philippines, something like that over there. They're getting those typhoons, but volcano-wise, we're not getting blasted or anything like that. The CME, apparently we've absorbed it, and there hadn't been too much of any disruptions. You know, we did have the Argentinian fireball, whatever that turned out to be, and there was some big-time power losses that, you know, like 9 million people or something had. But worldwide, you know, we didn't go black. And as far as I know, machinery didn't stop. For the most part. So we've come through all of this really well. And that CME was supposed to have been a pretty decent one. So we're going to keep plugging along, and I'm going to keep watching. I don't know what the other guys are going to do, or anyone else, gals or guys, but I'm going to keep looking for things, and if I see something that needs to be brought up and talked about and thought about that something could be bad coming, I'm going to show it. And the naysayers can pick it apart if they want. And if nothing happens with it, I'll be glad. But if it looks threatening, and I've looked at it, and it still looks threatening, I'm going to show the things. So that's what I wanted to say to you all. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm glad that we're all well prepared. Those that followed everything and still are. It doesn't hurt to have nothing happen. It doesn't hurt to have all your stuff ready. Because you know, as well as I do, God's timeline is the ultimate timeline. And when He said He'd bring the fire and the brimstone, at some point He's going to bring the fire and the brimstone. So you already know something hot and heavy rocks are going to be falling down. And that's why you watch for things like this. You keep your eye to the sky, and you pay attention to the signs. And when you start to see them, you need to tell people and start discussing it and being prepared, like we did with this. It didn't happen, and we're glad. We've got more time, and let's use it wisely. The more time is the more opportunity for more people to come to know Christ. That is the win out of getting more time, is that allows more people to have the opportunity to still find Him before that window closes or shuts and becomes really narrow, because times will be so bad. That it's a blessing to be able to have came through this, and people can still have time to prepare. That's all you're doing now. You're living your life as everyone should. No stoppage of life. Then on the flip side of the coin, you're prepared if there is a disruption and things go south. So y'all take care. And I appreciate all your support. And I'll bring you some stuff. But right now we seem to be doing really well. And I hope it continues. I really, certainly, honestly do. I'll talk to y'all real soon. And God bless every one of you. And keep you all safe. I'm still looking up.